Welcome back, students. Today we are going to continue the third chapter of our social sciences geography part, which is agriculture. In this part, we are going to cover the following topics. First is changes in cropping pattern, which includes the story of Sakra village, and the second is globalization and Indian culture, which is overall the fifth topic of this chapter. Let's start with the fourth topic of this chapter, which is change in cropping pattern, including the story of Sakra village. There are many reasons why cropping patterns change in a region. Let us look at the case of Sakra village to understand how and why this change occurs. There are many villages named Sakra in Chhattisgarh. The Sakra of this story is a village in Nagri Tehsil of Dhamtari district. It is the largest village in the district. Its inhabitants are engaged in many different occupations, but the majority are farmers. The chief crop is paddy. In the past, people cultivated paddy during the Kharif season and grew Bengal gram, khesri, wheat, linseed, etc. during the Rabi season. A little over 25 years ago, a dam was constructed across the Sondu river in the district. Canals from the Sondu dam brought water to the village. Farmers now didn't have to wait for the monsoon to irrigate their Kharif paddy crop. With irrigation, they also began cultivating paddy in Rabi as well. The flood irrigation from the canals suited paddy cultivation but did not suit crops such as gram, khesri, and linseed that require very little water and cannot grow in waterlogged fields. So the farmers gradually stopped growing these crops. The government also launched a paddy procurement scheme to encourage more and more farmers to grow paddy during the Rabi season. We can thus see how a development project such as the Sondu Dam changed the cropping pattern in Sakra village by providing irrigation to farmers. It led to paddy cultivation throughout the year and a steep decline in the cultivation of traditional Rabi crops such as gram, kesri, wheat, and linseed. The change in cropping pattern has given rise to several new problems in the lives of the villagers. We saw how irrigation led to a sharp decline in the cultivation of traditional Rabi crops. The farmers say they cannot grow these crops now even if they want to, so they grow only one crop throughout the year. This monocropping has depleted soil fertility because there is no crop rotation with pulse crops that fix nitrogen in the soil. The earthworm population in the soil has also declined. Finally, the modern farming practices that they have adopted have made them more dependent on traders. They now have to buy improved seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, etc. from the market. Previously, they used to store and produce whatever they needed, traditional seeds, organic produce, for farming at the household level. The following map shows the distribution of rice cultivation in our country. You can see almost all the part of Chhattisgarh, some part of Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and West Bengal, Odisha, as well as parts of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, and the coastal areas of Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Kerala are involved in the cultivation of rice. Therefore, we can say that India is a rice producing country. In this map, you can see how the distribution of wheat cultivation across our country has been distributed. You can see maximum part of Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, Uttarakhand, and Punjab are involved in growing the wheat crop. Let us now understand the last topic of this chapter, which is globalization and Indian agriculture. Globalization is the process in which a country's economy is integrated into the world economy. The main objective of globalization is to reduce trade barriers so that goods can move freely from one country to another. Today, agriculture has become a commercial enterprise. The developed countries have taken a number of steps to strengthen their food security and control the trade in agricultural commodities. The developed countries heavily subsidize agriculture operations for their farmers. For example, the USA subsidizes paddy and wheat cultivation by 47%, the EU, that is European Union, by 48% and 32% respectively, and Japan by 89% and 99% respectively. These subsidies lower the cost of production for farmers in these countries or even completely cover them. Lower production costs allow them to export their produce at a lower cost. They are thus able to generate demand for their agricultural commodities in the international markets. The developing countries are not in a position to subsidize their agriculture. Far from giving subsidies, the government in India by various means taxes paddy by 1.17% and wheat by 3.83%. This makes our produce expensive. That is why the agricultural produce of developing countries cannot compete in the international markets. Despite the protests of the developing countries, the developed countries continue to subsidize their agriculture. Now, under globalization policies, developing countries like India have to allow agricultural produce of developed countries to be sold in their markets. This will have the effect of reducing the price of agricultural products when the costs of input are rising and make farming uneconomical. Biotechnology helps to change the genetic makeup of living organisms by introducing special characteristics or properties in their genome. Agricultural production is seeing undreamt of increases with new strains of food grain and vegetable crops, as well as new kinds of fertilizers, pesticides, and plant nutrients. Technology is no longer limited to the laboratory. It is now a huge commercial enterprise. Over $5 billion have been invested in this industry. Companies producing genetically modified seeds and other agricultural inputs spend 4 to 5 crore rupees every year on research and development alone. In the Western world, there are over 300 scientific enterprises involved in such research. Many of them have been acquired by multinational corporations such as Allied, Cyanamide, Chevron, DuPont, Ciba-G, etc., and have now established their monopoly in the industry. The situation today is that the firm that sells genetically modified seeds also sells the new fertilizers and pesticides that ensures their high yields. Farmers have no option to buy all their inputs from the same company, making them totally dependent on the foreign multinational. This dependence increases the cost of production of agricultural commodities in developing nations. Thank you for watching this video. I hope now you'll be able to clearly understand the various topics under this chapter of agriculture. Thank you.